welcome to Hypothetically Intentional. We ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your co-host, Michelle, and today we have Lee Smart back with us again. And we've had a pretty great conversation the last few episodes, so let's see where we go today. Hi, Lee.
Howdy-o. That's the monster in the closet theory that I use. It's
Yeah,
when there's a monster in the closet, it's scary until you shine a light on it.
right. And you're shining a light on, it's not even just your, I mean, it is your inner child. It is like your little Lee, right? But it's also your childhood experience. It's not just about like, because there's a difference between saying my mom was an alcoholic and I needed to play parent a lot and asking the question, what did Lee at age 7? I'm just picking an age. What did Lee at age 7 need, desperately need that he didn't get? Like those are two really different questions or two different
Mhm.
statements, two different things to look at. Like, and I think both are important, but they take us to different places.
When you say that, I think about a story right off the top of my head. And I was climbing an 8 foot tall fence, wooden. And when I went to go jump over the top of it, my foot caught on one of the fence posts. I don't remember if it was a shoelace or what, but when it caught me, it jerked me over in midair and I landed flat on my back on the ground. And it completely knocked the wind out of me. An 8 foot drop flat on my back. I could not breathe at all. And thanks to not being able to breathe, I absolutely panicked, full on just panicked. And ran into the house, couldn't breathe, couldn't breathe. My mom was on the phone when I walked up to her and gasping with no air coming in. She said, "Get out of here. I can't deal with that right now."
Oh, wow.
Like, she just didn't have the, I don't know, emotional space, mental space, whatever it was, to be present and be what with what was there. And I think that's a part of it, of what, we talk about. You say little Lee, it's actually, I've named my childhood avatar as my middle name, Aaron.
There you go. I like that.
So I've already named him and fully fleshed him out. And that's part of what he needed, was just that support.
Yeah. Do you have a hard time asking for support now, or is it easy for you?
And it's terrible for me to ask for support.
I suspect often we pull that same story forward, right?
Oh yeah.
When you ask for support from your mom and she didn't have it in you, if you ask for support and they say no, you don't want that rejection again. You don't want that feeling again. You don't want that, you know? And it's like, how do you get out of that old story? Like that's the ticket. Recognizing that like you have different people in your world right now. I had a thing like my sister was premature. And so, you know, when I was 3 years old, my parents kind of disappeared for a little while, rightfully so. They had to take care of her. And I didn't even know I had a wound there until I did. And then it's like, oh, well, but the core sort of thing that helped me realize that I've always had support is that like the universe like put people in my world at that time that were like other parents for me.
Hmm.
It wasn't that I didn't have support. I just didn't have it from the place I felt like I needed it the most. And I told myself that for a really long time. And now I realize I find myself catching myself in that same pattern. Like if I feel rejected by somebody I'm really close to, I'll get in that what was me pity party. And then I'll be like, but hang on, I have like 16 other people over here that would drop everything and like right now in this minute, drop everything and come help with whatever I asked for. So why am I super hung up on this one human that is saying no in this now? And it's like, oh, it's because you're in that old story that you're telling yourself that like, no, damn
Yeah.
it, these people have to support me. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way, and that's okay. But also, I get to honor that wound and I get to love that 3 year old me up and let her know that, like, it was okay that that hurt you and it was okay that that made you sad. And it's still okay now for you to ask other people for support and help and let them know that you need a hug, which was not something I ever used to do. But I think there's something on the other side of like that acknowledgement that like Aaron didn't get what he needed in that moment,
Hmm.
but Lee now knows how to find it and he gets to ask for it. And it doesn't have to be the end of the world or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that just takes time, right? To like build that muscle for yourself. It's like a different kind of CrossFit.
Hmm. I love the idea that different people fill different roles in our life.
Yeah.
And you can't go to the hardware store to get milk.
Right. Right.
It's like getting
Exactly.
pissed off at somebody for that damn good and well is a good time friend. Like you call them out to go party, they're there. But if you call them to move, they'll ghost you every time.
Yeah.
And then get mad at them for just being who they are. It's like, just don't call that person if you need to move,
Right.
because you know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
Or don't get mad if you call them and they say yes and then don't show up. Um,
Right.
so do we have the support network of all the different people that fill all the different roles that we need? Um, Trying to think what would help move me forward, even though as we're talking through all these things, and I find myself right now in this moment, I feel quite scattered because I've been in that push cycle lately. I got the idea in my head that I was ready to get the body and get the six pack again back that I haven't seen in 20 plus years. So I've been pushing really hard to get there. And that lands me in a calorie deficit and a low energy place. And whenever just by its very nature, it's hard to think in those places. It's hard to be clear. It's hard to act. And I haven't been okay with what I've chosen to do at this point. It's like I'm going through the suck and now I'm pissed off about it. But I
Dude, I'm
chose
gonna
the
say
suck.
this. I'm gonna say this, and you can take it or leave it. But the minute you said that, the minute you said you've been working on this six pack, like that's been your goal, it's like feels like a subconscious level form of avoidance. Like you
Mhm.
literally just uncovered Aaron, and now you have this other big goal that will totally distract you from going all in on Aaron.
Mhm. That thought definitely popped up even as I was starting to talk about it. It's like, oh, where did that goal come from?
Right.
What is that goal serving?
Because just from I mean, and I'm not even gonna say a little bit. I think I know a lot. I think like we've had enough conversations. I know a lot. Uh, One of your biggest patterns is to go big or go home on a goal,
Hmm.
and you just pick one. You don't allow yourself more than one.
Hmm.
Well, it's so that you can be so hyper focused on that that you don't have to look at any of the other bullshit you don't want to look at.
Yup.
Maybe, maybe not. I call it the dark, soggy, alone place. It's like we go to that place that we really just don't want to be in. And here's the thing I was thinking about earlier when you were talking. I don't remember what you were saying when it came in, but like, have you ever been waiting for a surgery and you've been in so much pain and then it gets done? And you're like, why did I wait so long for that damn surgery? I feel so much better. I resisted that for so long. And now like I feel free. I have movement. I have, whatever the surgery was for. It's like that is legit the journey of personal growth and transformation. It is the healing of the inner child. It is doing the shadow work. It is like, why the fuck did I wait so long? I was so, I don't know. I was like an obstacle to myself for so long until I wasn't. And now that I'm not, I go, damn, that was hard. And it was hard for longer than it had to be. And I also think it's all in our own time. We have to be mindful about when we look and how we look and how long we stay there and all of those things. And we're really good at avoiding that shit. We're
Hmm.
really good at, and I don't know, I think I'm reflecting on clients now and I'm reflecting on my own journey. And it feels like there's such a big piece of us that's afraid to heal because we know what we're capable of, and that scares us on some level. Like if I'm healed, then I know who I am and I know how my expectations are already. But if I go back and heal little Michelle, if I go back and heal Shelly, well, then I'm going to have to do so much more because I know I'll be capable of so much more because and it's like I'm not afraid of the work, but also there's like a part like that's a lot of responsibility. Like, wait, hang on. I don't know. It can bring in all those like old things.
I tell you what I've seen showing up a lot is people get their sense of importance from their struggles, their pain,
Mm,
whatever it is that they're carrying around with them. And the very thought of letting go of what makes me important is terrifying because who am I without all this pain, without all this grief, without all that uh, driving me? And I've seen that happen so many times, and especially with like hyperachievers. It's like, oh, who am I without my drive to go out there and accomplish all the things and do all the stuff and get all the diplomas, all the certifications, all the whatever PhDs and MDs and all those things and then go out there and make the business that makes all the dollars. And who am I without that drive? What makes me special? What makes me important?
yeah, because that significance piece goes away. I'm
Hmm.
not significant if I don't. This is what I've been hanging on to that makes me quote unquote special.
Yep.
And it, but yeah, oh God, that's such a slippery slope.
Hmm.
It's so
And I could tell you right now, one of my fears personally, when it comes to the fear of success, is what happens if I end up back where I was and I
mm.
lose my life to whatever it is I create.
So, but do you think if Aaron is healed, do you think if that story is recognized as an old story and you're now creating your own, your authentic one, whatever that looks like, do you believe your authentic story is going to be the same as Aaron's? I mean, do you know anything else? Maybe that's a better question. Like, do you know anything else? Because if that answer is no right now, then you maybe can't answer the question I just asked.
I don't know.
It would
As
be
we
in-
start to talk about it, though, I'm deeply curious about what it is my brain is avoiding that I'm not seeing.
mm,
I really do think you hit on something big right there. It's like I have this goal to create the six pack and I went all in on this goal. What is this goal forcing me to look away from?
correct.
I'm not
The
sure what it
goosebumps when you
is.
say that. Take that or leave that. But goosebumps for me is like that. Oh shit, pay attention. This is important.
Yeah. And right now, I pointing that out makes me go, okay, I don't want to look at it, but I need to look at it.
Yeah,
What is it?
and I think you get to look at it. You get to choose it. Like you don't have to, right? Like need puts so much pressure and adds that guilt and shame piece on that we're so comfortable in sometimes. I don't know where you're at, but for me. Um, and so you get to choose to offer compassion and kindness to Aaron
Mhm.
because he didn't get to do a lot of things as a kid that most kids get to do. And I hear you talk about, that a little bit. I hear you talk about how you show up in the world and have since you worked yourself to death almost. I mean, that's kind of how you say it. So, is it possible that the idea of looking at Aaron brings you to a place of grief that you just don't want to open that door? I mean, there will be a grieving process of what Aaron didn't get to experience at that time in his life. It doesn't mean you can't go do it now and you can't so take this or leave it too. But I have a couple clients right now who are similar stories. Did not have a parent, needed to be the parent, never got to play. And now they have kids of their own and they are offering their kids what they didn't have. And they are getting their own healing through that process with their children because they are playing with their kids and they're both the parent and the child in that moment. And they're getting to relive what they didn't have through their family. And it's been a really powerful journey for them. But it also brings in like a grief of what was lost. Um,
I just realized something.
what's that?
I just realized something huge. I managed to rediscover that play, that fun, that joy, and the thought of taking on the responsibility. I'm fucking afraid of it because I'm afraid I'm gonna lose that play, that fun, that joy again.
Did you get a pang of sadness when you said that?
I don't know that I would call it sadness.
Okay. I
A
just
little bit,
asked,
yeah. I would
I,
say a little bit, but there, no, there's a deeper something to it than just sadness. It was, no, that was a deep realization right there that I'm afraid to take on the responsibility of running this new business because I'm afraid I'm going to lose what I've managed to rediscover.
yeah. And so if you were mindful, intentional about how you structured this new business and you didn't go at it from a place of avoidance, you went at it with mindfulness and intention, and you structured it in such a way that is not in an old pattern, but it is in new, healed, aware, wise Lee. Can you trust yourself to know that you won't allow that to happen?
No, no, I can't trust myself,
Not yet.
but I,
Not yet.
no, but I also know that I have at my fingertips what's necessary to create what it is that I need to be able to go there and start to build that trust again. Uh,
Yes. That's beautiful.
without losing myself again into taking on all the tasks, all the responsibilities, all the now I know without a doubt that I can bring people with me.
Yeah. Including Aaron.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, that's such a fun part about what we do. When we start to talk about, I've done a lot of saboteur work. I'm not sure what in your studies what it's called, but sometimes it's called the shadow. In dickhead places, they call it the devil.
Oh,
Right. That little piece of evil that we have in us. That's such a load of shit.
I don't
God, it's
resonate
such
it
a
with
load of
it in
shit.
that way at all. I actually
It's
think it's beautiful.
we
Not
have, yeah,
evil. It's beautiful.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful because it's a protector, it's a misguided helper within us. And instead of trying to shove that piece of ourselves away and shove it down, that makes it grab on even harder. It's like, no, I'm trying to protect you, dumbass.
Yeah.
Quit pushing me away. And then it just
Yeah.
keeps grasping it. And then it has even greater control over it. If instead we look at that saboteur and say, hey, what do you need? I love you. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to what your concerns are. What's here?
Exactly. I like how you went inward with that because I think from the little conversation that we've had just today, one of your patterns is to go external when you avoid. Like that's your big go-to to avoid, right? External. I'm going to get my six-pack abs. External. I'm going to grow my business to a place. External, right? All these external things that I'm going to drink. I'm going to like, right, whatever it is. It's like it's all external and for you to go internal is like so huge to the point where it's like I want to challenge you and be like, can you set an intention to be mindful and aware to just notice that when you're going external that you need to pause and be inquisitive with yourself so that you can have radical honesty about is this an intentional external thing that needs to happen to drive me forward aligned with my highest self, or is this an external goal that I'm setting because I don't want to look at Aaron again or whatever the thing is, right? Like, and you're not alone. I think this is how we do it. I think as humans, when we have a wound that we don't want to look at, we start, how can I help someone else? How can I get this six pack? How can I do this thing? How can I do anything that's not inside of me? Because I don't want to go inward and look at that thing. And that is why, when we get on the other side of that healed thing, we look back and we go, damn, I spent a lot of energy avoiding that thing. And that energy could have been put into something else. And then we go into that guilt and shame, or we beat
Mhm.
ourselves up, or we go into that grief state, like, I'm smarter than that. Why did I do that? Right. Like I'm saying my experiences like that, but I also hear other clients and people doing that. I think it's human nature for us to show up in that way in some level. So it's like, when we can just put some mindfulness and awareness and intention and some kindness and compassion around, wow, I have seemed really attached to this external thing. Why? It can be such a huge light on the nuggets that we've that we're so delicately uncovering. And I think delicately uncovering them is great. I think, I have a friend who says I'm like a archaeologist where I go in with the brushes and the
Mm.
tools to get to the things and keep them intact versus I don't just go in with TNT and blow it up, Then we got to find the pieces scattered all over the place. I think there's something to be said for nurturing and loving and honoring like what we're uncovering. And yeah, that might take longer, but does it really? Because to find all the scattered pieces that the TNT sent off into the ethers is like a whole nother deal of trying to find it, right? When we can keep it intact and honor it and love it and thank it and appreciate it. Like I was in a healing session once and she wanted me to thank the fact that I had like appreciate the fact that I had been molested. And I was like, yeah, that pisses me off. I don't know that I'm really there yet, And she was like, it's not about like, it's not that you're it's not about that. It's about you appreciating your energy of like honoring who you are as a human and your whole self, all of it, no matter what happened. Like you get to appreciate all of you. And I was like, okay, well, that's a little better, But it was just like to appreciate the wounded self, the shadow self, the saboteur, whatever you want to call it, to be able to appreciate, honor, and love that piece of you changes everything.
There's been a big piece for me that's popped up now that it's not about trying to rediscover the inner child. It's about trying to make sure he gets to stay around while I go and be an adult again.
You pull him forward and bring him into you now. Yes.
No, I really think in many ways I already have. Didn't
Yeah.
realize that I did, but I had. And I was so terrified of losing him again that the thought of taking on the weight of running another business and having those responsibilities had me unconsciously terrified that I was going to lose him again and quit having fun and not be able to show up for my kids and not be able to show up for my wife because I missed so much. I missed the first year of my middle daughter's life because I was working. Missed it. Gone. Like I didn't even see any of it because I was in that shop. I was working so hard, 80, 100 hours a week at minimum, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that piece of me that thinks that's what I have to do if I want to be successful again.
Mm. And that's that old story
And
coming forward that you were told as a kid.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a piece of me that thinks to be successful, I have to go put in those hours and work that hard and set everything else aside and just focus on the one thing um and getting those stories forward and taking a look at them. It's like, no, I get to choose.
Yeah.
And I get to choose every day where I want to be and how I want to show up. And uh yeah, that's kind of big. That it just really opens up like I can take on that responsibility again. I can take on the business again and grow this new business into something that creates the lifestyle that I want to have for me and my wife and my kids. In fact, if I can grow this business into the a big enough entity, we get to have a better lifestyle because Tanya gets to do whatever she wants to do. She can come right next to me and we can explore it all. We can do it all together.
Right.
And that's such a fucking amazing thought.
That's amazing. It's beautiful.
That I mean, that's 100% why I've been stuck in trying to grow my business because I'm afraid to. Because I'm
Well,
afraid to allow it to be successful because I don't want to lose myself again.
Well,
Right?
and when you talk about the old business, right? Like you talk about it with the story that you worked yourself to death. I don't hear a lot of like I loved doing it, I was helping people, right? But when you
Hmm.
talk about what you're doing now, like even we've been talking for 2 hours. I don't even have a freaking voice and we've been talking for 2 hours. How is that even possible? And I'm having fun. Like we are
Right.
playing, we are dancing, we are playing, we are honoring each other, we are honoring our highest selves, and we are honoring the work that we do and the impact that we have in the world. I don't know how you can create a business that isn't joyful, playful, and fulfilling when you're coming from that state. You're not coming from the state of
Yeah.
from the old story that I have to be busy and I have to make all the money in the world. You're coming from a state of I want to have an impact and help people and I know that deserves financial like gain from that, right? Like that's what a business is. But it's not about, it's about the heart and the impact and
Mm.
making the world a better place first and foremost. How is that not playful, fun, and amazing?
You want to hear how big of a disconnect I had in my business with what I truly valued? When people asked me what I did for a living, I said I polished turds.
Oh,
That's how big of a disconnect. And I knew in 2012, right before I started personally, I told my current boss, I need to get out of this business because I was working on a vehicle and the belt that went around the AC was disposable. Had to buy a new one. Couldn't take it off and put it back on to service the system. And that's how disposable our life has become as
mm.
Americans. And that disposability, that fleeting, everything is in living in the everlasting now, that nothing is made of quality and value that's meant to last anymore. It's all meant to be replaced. That drove me nuts. It drove me so nuts to think about how everything was disposable. And I was literally thought I was polishing turds for a living.
You giving that like I just saw like the most beautiful thing when you were talking about the disposable belts. And it makes me think of like how we heal.
Mhm.
It's not about disposing of Aaron and making him go away. It's absolutely about honoring who he was, what he needed,
Mhm.
giving him that and pulling him forward into today. And
Oh
I know
yeah.
you said you've done that, but I mean, I think sometimes people think that healing means they have to like let go of a piece of themselves, and I don't see it that way at all. I see it as like we are honoring, accepting, loving, and pulling forward the pieces of ourselves that gave us so much pain previously, but they don't anymore because we see them, we honor them, we even appreciate them, and we take that energy. Like the old story is the old story. That's gone. It's not relevant today anymore. But we get
Mhm.
to take that human that is part of us and we get to pull it into our being today. And we get to
Yeah.
show up healed in on some level in that time and space. And I think that is like one of the most beautiful things. And I think
It's
sometimes people
it's
attach
to
it to throwing it
integrate,
away.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
to integrate all facets of ourselves and to honor all our facets because we have many, many, many different facets of who we are because of the various things that happen to us. So we take and pull them all in and honor each one of them in turn.
Yeah.
Um, dang. I just thought of something else too that was absolutely epic. It was probably going to be absolutely life-changing and world altering, but I lost it.
That happens to me too. Sometimes the downloads come in and out so fast. It's like, shit, I missed that one. Where'd it go?
Uh-huh. No, there was something big there.
You were talking about integrating.
I was talking about integrating. Hmm. Lost it.
It's all right. If it's meant to come back, it'll come back.
Yep.
Feels like a wrap. How do you feel? Is there anything you need or any more you want to share about the journey or aha moments or things you can't unsee? Any of that stuff?
Hmm. Yeah, you can tell I'm pretty well spent because
Oh,
nothing there. Yeah.
all right. I feel like that's true too. And I think we need to honor ourselves when that happens, right? Like when we do the work and we uncover the things, and sometimes we just need some time to chew on it.
Mhm. Oh yeah. That and it's already been a long day for me. So,
Let's
um,
call it a wrap. Tell people again how they can find you, will you?
oh, sure. Okay. So you can find me on social media, Lee Aaron Smart. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn prominently. Um, but my website, leeasmart.com. You can go on there. There's a Let's Talk button. Just hit the button, schedule a call. All my first sessions are free as a coach. I want to make sure first and foremost that we can work together, that we have a good relationship, that we can connect. Because all great coaching starts with a great relationship. And so I just want to make sure that whoever I work with that I can serve. And then from that point, we move forward as necessary. I don't ever want to be salesy.
Yeah.
Everybody that I talk to, it's either hell yes or hell no. I try not to have an in between. So the only
I
way to
love
know
it.
that is to have that conversation.
Thank you for sharing this time today. I really appreciate it. It
Oh,
was
thank you so much
delightful.
for having me on. I'm looking forward to more of our conversations.
Yeah, me too. It's good. All right. So you can find us on social media. The links will be in the episode details. And that's it for now. Bye. Be you every day.